All right. Hi, everybody. So today our lesson is going to be on 4.4, which is solving two-step inequalities. So right now, I just want to make sure you all have your math composition notebook out in front of you, and you have a writing utensil, and that you are ready to write down everything that is on the screen and take notes on everything. All right. So to get started, let's just write the learning target, which is I will be able to solve two-step inequalities. So two-step inequalities. Everything you need to know for this section, you've already learned in chapter 4 and chapter 3. So pretty much all we're going to do is just apply all of our knowledge for these more advanced problems. So solving two-step inequalities, similar to solving two-step equations. We always want to deal with the things that are unattached to the x. So let's pay attention to the side that the variable's on, because that's the side we always want to pay attention to. Then typically we want to do our addition and subtraction move first, okay? So let's look. What's attached to the variable? Well, I see a -4. So in order to cancel out a -4, I'm going to need to add 4 to both sides. All right, so I'm going to add 4 to both sides. That's going to leave me with 5x. Remember, write the inequality symbol is greater than or equal to 11 plus 4 is going to give me 15. Okay, the second thing you're going to do is you're going to do the multiply/divide step. Okay, so you're going to deal with everything that's attached to the variable. So same as our chapter 3 rules for solving two-step equations. So I see that the 5 and the x are attached. What operation is attaching the 5 and the x? Hopefully you said multiplication. So since it's multiplication that's attaching those, in order to cancel them out, we need to divide by 5. Because 5 divided by 5 is 1, which that's just going to leave me with 1x. All right, so then we have x is greater than or equal to 15 divided by 5 is a positive 3. So that is my solution. But we don't stop there because we still have to graph it. So I'm going to draw my number line. Draw 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. -1, -2, -3, -4, -5. So remember, you want to plot your point where this number is, which is 3. So I'm going to plot my point at 3. Then we need to decide, is it going to be an open or a closed circle? So take a peek at the inequality symbol here. Is it going to be an open or a closed circle? Should we fill in the circle or leave it open? Hopefully you said we should fill in the circle because there is that line underneath it, okay? So 3 is a solution to the for the x because it says x has to be greater than or equal to 3. So that means it can be 3 as well. Okay, then finally, we want to test a point on the left side. So if x equals, let's do 0. If x equals 0, plug in 0 to the inequality. 0 is greater than or equal to 3. Is 0 greater than or equal to 3? No. So let's do a point on the right. If x equals 5, then 5 is greater than or equal to 3. Is 5 greater than or equal to 3? Yep. So I know that I need to shade to the right of my point. And that is the graph that you would need to show. So essentially, we're just combining all the stuff that we've learned in chapter 3 and chapter 4 up until this point, and we're just applying it. All right, let's go down. And we want to solve b over -3 plus 4 is less than 13. So again, draw a line down it. We want to focus on the side with the variable on it. So that's going to be the left side. Then we always want to deal with the stuff that's unattached to the variable first. So I see a +4. How can I get rid of a +4? Well, hopefully you're thinking you need to subtract 4 from both sides. Okay, if we subtract 4, that'll get rid of this. Then we'll be left with b over -3. Write the inequality is less than 13 minus 4. That'll give me 9. Okay, now we need to, again, look at the left side, and it's b over -3. So that's a fraction. What operation does that represent? Hopefully you're thinking division. And in order to cancel out division, we have to multiply. So we're going to multiply by -3 over 1. Again, you have to multiply by that whole number. If it's negative, you have to make it a negative, okay? So multiply by -3. And then, wait, stop. What are we multiplying by? We're multiplying by a negative. So we need to flip the inequality symbol, okay? Because remember, whenever you multiply or divide by a negative number, you have to flip the inequality symbol. So these are going to cancel. I'm going to be left with B. Rather than writing less than, it is now greater than. We flipped the sign. And 9 times -3 will give me a -27. All right, and that is my solution. B is greater than -27. Don't forget to flip the inequality symbol. Okay, so now we're going to draw our graph. And I'm going to count by different numbers just because this is a bigger number. So I'm going to go 0, and I'm going to do 10, 20. I'm going to do -10, -20, -30. And I'm just going to write the point right here, okay? So at -27. Okay, so now I need to decide, do I need to fill in the circle or do I leave it open? Hopefully you're saying leave it open because -27 is not a solution. Okay, and the reason why we know that is because there's not a line underneath it, which that tells us it cannot be equal to -27. It just has to be greater than -27. So you can think about this logically. If B has to be greater than -27, where are greater numbers? Hopefully you're thinking to the right, but let's test a point just to be sure. So let's test a point to the right. If x equals 10, plug in 10. Is 10 greater than -27? Yes. Then let's test a point to the left just to be sure. Let's do -30. Is -30 greater than -27? No, it's a bigger negative number, which a bigger negative number is actually lesser. So we need to shade to the right. So we're going to shade to the right, and that is going to be our graph for the inequality. All right, most important thing, don't forget to flip the inequality if you're multiplying or dividing by a negative. All right, let's look at our last example, and then we will finish this up. So which graph represents the solution of -7, x plus 3 is less than or equal to 28? I'm going to teach you 2 ways to do this, okay? So we have -7, x plus 3 is less than or equal to 28. Okay, and then we're going to do it over here too. So you have this 7 that is just hanging outside of the parentheses, okay? I'm going to teach you a little trick, okay? When you are doing your algebra, since the -7 is outside parentheses, okay? One thing you can do is you could actually divide this whole thing by -7. Because since it's multiplication, you can kind of think of this as just one variable. So think of that as just like an x, okay? So you can actually divide by -7, and that's only if the rest of the side is in parentheses, and those would cancel out, okay? So you could divide by -7, those would cancel out. You would just be left with x plus 3, which really simplifies things. This would equal -4. And then it makes it super simple because all you have to do, subtract 3 from both sides, and then you have your answer. X is less than or equal to -7. But wait, I made a mistake. Did anybody catch my mistake? I forgot to flip my inequality symbol when I divided by a negative. So I need to fix that because remember, I divided by a negative number. So I need to flip the inequality symbol. Okay? So rather than it being less than or equal to, it's going to turn around and be greater than or equal to. All right, so your answer should be x is greater than or equal to -7. So now I'm going to show you how to do that another way. So you could also just do it the typical way that you probably know, which is to distribute. So that would give you -7x, and then -7 times 3 would give you -21 is less than or equal to 28. Again, for this one, it's just a 2-step equation. So you'd add 21 first, add 21. All right, you'd be left with -7x is less than or equal to, that would be 49. And then you would need to divide by -7, divide by -7. Again, your sign is going to flip because you are dividing by a negative number. All right. And you would be left with x is greater than or equal to negative 7. Okay. Do you see how these are the same? These are the same because I just showed you two different ways to solve that inequality. Both ways work. That's the wonderful thing about algebra is typically there's more than one way to do it. So I just gave you another tool for your toolbox on the left side. That is something you can do only if there is a number outside of the parentheses and everything else on that side is in the parentheses. Then you can just divide by that number that's outside. So now we need to look at our graph. Okay, our point is going to be at negative 7. So automatically I can take this one off because this is a positive 7. And this is also a positive 7. So I know it's not C or D. So I know it's going to be this one or this one. Okay. So the circle is going to be closed in. So it says x is greater than negative 7. Greater than. So if we plug in negative 4 is greater than or equal to negative 7. That is true. Our greater numbers are going to the right. So our shading should be to the right, which is represented in B. So B is our answer for this example. Okay, that is 4.4. Most of it is pretty much just review from chapter 3 and the first part of chapter 4. So that is your video, and we will get started on the Big Ideas assignment soon.